Hey guys, Will Patterson here, and here's another video tutorial. Now, I haven't done many of these tutorials lately because I've been doing more vlogging type things and explaining more about design to you and myself in different vlogs. But in this tutorial, I'm going to be going straight into how to create this text effect. I must admit, this isn't just a text effect, this is drawn as well. And the idea came from drawing, and I'm going to show you how to create it just in Illustrator to make it easier for you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to go for 1000 by 1000 pixels, and I'm going to go ahead and have that. It's sort of just the aspect ratio of another square. And the first thing I'm going to do is going to create a circle. So I'm going to get my oval tool over here, and I'm going to just create a circle by holding Shift and Alt or Option on a Mac, and I'm going to go ahead and create that. Now the problem is we have here is a white fill and a black stroke, and we don't want that. We want to have just the black stroke or just the black fill. So I'm going to go ahead and press Shift and X, which you'll see is switched it. It switched it so it's got a white stroke now and a black fill, and we need to go ahead and get rid of that stroke. So I've just pressed that little icon down there to get rid of the stroke. Now also the other thing we need to do is make sure this is in rich black. This is only really used for sort of print servicing, but I really like to make sure all my blacks and colors are correct. So the first thing I'm going to suggest for you to do is go up to the preferences panel up here, or press Command or Control K, and you'll be taken to the preferences dialog box. Then we need to go down to the appearance of black. Now when we go down here, we'll have two of these settings here, and it says on screen we need to go ahead and change it from display all blacks as rich black to display all blacks accurately. And that's just going to make it so we see the black that's on the screen as the actual black it's representing. And then we need to go from printing to exporting, output all blacks accurately, or output all blacks as rich black. We do not want that. We want this one here, the accurate one, so we have more control of what we're creating. Now to get rich black, we need to learn a little bit about how black works with Illustrator. So if I was to hover over this and select it, and go over to my swatches panel over here, we've got a black swatch. If I was to double click on this swatch, we'll get the swatch options box up, and we'll see it's done in CMYK, and we can change the color mode of everything, but we're going to be in CMYK because this could be used for print, and I do a lot of printing with my illustrations. So on here we'll have the swatch name black, and the problem is that this is an actual black. You can see it more clearly in the dialog box up here on the preference panel. This what we've got here is the 100K black. This what we've got here is the 100K black, whereas this here is the example of rich black, which is what we want. We do not want this black, it's sort of a really dark grey. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight our swatch, our colour, sorry, or our circle even, and then we're going to double click on this black swatch over here, and again we're going to see our dialog box here. To get rid of this just dark grey, we need to fill it up with more colours. Now these colours are cyan, magenta, yellow and key, and within here we need to go ahead and make these 50, 50, 50, because this turns it into 250% with colour. Adding more colour on will give it the black, and this is what's going to give it the rich black. And there we go, we've got a rich black right there. Also what I'd like to do is I'd like to make it into a spot colour, so I press space after the black, then I go to spot colour, and then okay, and this will give us a spot on the swatch. Amazing. Now we've got that technical stuff done. I'm going to move my little device here. Okay, now I've done all my technical color work. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down, holding Shift and Option, and then I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm going to move it twice like so, and copy it over. Holding Alt and moving things will copy over what you're selecting. Amazing, so we've got this. Now I want to go ahead and actually get rid of these two. I've done this wrong. The first thing we need to do is create a circle within here and cut it out. So I'm going to go ahead and press Command C or Control C and Command or Control F, which will copy the shape in front of the shape. I'm going to move the first shape down to about here, and then we'll have two circles. If I change the colour in here, you'll see the circles are different. There's two circles there now. And what I want to do is I want to cut this circle from this back circle here. So we're going to highlight both of these, and then we're going to go to our Pathfinder options, and we're going to go to minus front. And then that will delete that shape from the back shape. Amazing, so we've got our circle or our O, and you could easily do this by just making an O from your keyboard, and then we're going to go ahead and copy them over. So hold Shift and Alt, or Alt first and then Shift, and then you'll copy over the shape. But we need to do this twice to create 3 of them for this desired effect. I'm going to highlight all of these, and I'm going to make sure they're to the artboard, so they're going straight to the artboard. And this is a really good way of spacing out your work. So when we've done this, we've put it to the artboard here. We're going to go up here and press this one here, the horizontal distribute center, and this will distribute them nicely in the center. We're going to bring them back down, and we've got that. Amazing. Now what we need to do to create this other effect is to actually work without the fill, because the fill gets confusing. We need to go ahead and make sure these are just strokes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift and X. Okay, now we're just in the strokes. The first thing I'm going to do is we need to create our first line here to go into the O to make it look like it's actually being waved in or sort of curving in. And then the first thing I'm going to do that effect is I'm going to use my pen tool. Now the pen tool is a bit of a hard tool to get a hold of or to get a hang of even, but we'll be able to work it out from here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to select this path here. I'm going to just deselect everything by clicking off everything, use my pen tool and just create a line from here downwards. I'm going to pull this down so it'll give us a nice curve. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to here to the inside bit of this stroke here and pull it out, and we'll just let go and we'll see how that looks. Okay, that looks okay. It's not the best. We can press V to get to a selection, or yeah, and that looks okay. I like that. Remember, we can always change these paths, so keep the path you've got and we can change them later. Okay, so I don't like this path too much. I mean, it looks okay for the first go, but I'm going to just select this anchor point here with my direct selection tool, which you can find up here, and then I'm going to move these handles down a tiny bit to give it more of a wave. I'm going to do the same up here, move this handle, which is hard to see, a bit more up so it's flowing from here down, and we can always change these. Amazing, so that's the first one done. Now we need to copy this down over here into the inside circle bit here, and then this is looking a tad strange. We need to actually move this up a tiny bit to over here, depending on how thick you want your line to be. We want it to be roughly the same thickness as the circle width, so from here to here. So we're going to go ahead, create it from about there. Now the problem we're having here is that we need to shorten this path. So we're going to press A to get a direct selection tool like up here, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring that down here. And I'm going to snap it to this anchor point or this path here, because that's where I want the line to end. Now the problem is we've got too much of a bend here, so we need to move this handle up. And as we move it up, you can see that it's got more of a free-flowing look to it. I can't speak today. Right, and then we can look at this path here, and we can move it up a tiny bit maybe to get that free-flowing action. Now you can see this path over here doesn't fit exactly where we want it, so I'm going to press Z and then go ahead and zoom in, get my direct selection point tool, and then I'm going to go ahead, move it up, and make sure that this path is looking half decent, like so. And if I press Command or Control 1, it'll zoom out so we can see the whole thing and see if it's flowing correctly. Amazing. So we've done that. We've got our path outlines there, and that's going to make it a lot easier for us. From this point on, it's going to be a lot easier. You've gone through the hard bit, so we won't worry anymore. So if I go into the previous document of what we're referring to, you can see that from here, or in fact I'll look at it from here, there is no sort of path here from where we can see on here. So from this circle there is no path. We have to delete this path or cut the path. So I'm going to zoom right in like so, move it into my center of the screen, and I'm going to press C, and then I'm going to highlight my circle here, and we need to cut this path. So C is actually the cut tool or the scissors tool, and you can cut the path. So from up here I'm going to cut exactly here, and then I'm going to go down here and cut there. Nothing much has happened. all we've done is we've separated the paths to enable us to get rid of it. So I'm going to press A to get my direct selection tool. I'm going to just go ahead and highlight these anchor points and delete them, and you can see that it's deleted the anchor points from here, so we're just left with this gap, which looks okay. If I zoom right out with Command 0, you can see that we've got a bit of a strange wobbly bit here. Now you don't need to worry about them. The great thing about paths is that you can always fix them. It does take some time, but you can fix them, and we can do things to them. Especially if you zoom right in and see where the problem is, we can see the problem is probably the curving of the path isn't correct. So we need to correct this with the handles. Try and make it as free flowing as possible without ruining it. It does take a bit of fiddling. And I'm not going to go ahead and fiddle with every single last bit here, but it will help us. So as you can see, we've got this thing sort of flowing into here. Now we need to do the same. Hang on. We need to do the same with the other document here. So if we're flowing into something, we need to cut the paths from here to here. So we do the exact same thing. We're going to go ahead, highlight our circle, press C, and we're going to cut from the path here to this path here. Press A, and we're going to go ahead and delete these anchor points, and we've cut them to the actual size. Now you might see that these do not connect, so we need to move these or undo what we've done and start doing something different. You see we've got a path there that shouldn't be there, so let's get rid of that. This has gone crazy on me. So I'm going to move this, and the good thing about this effect is that you don't want it to look perfect, because it is hand typography, and the effect that we're creating after is going to enable us to do messy work just now. But it's always good practice to have good work going so far. Amazing. So that is the first part of what we've done. We've connected the first O. Now as you can see, as we connect it, we have to go from down to up, and all I've done is I've copied over the same paths and changed them slightly so that we have a different angle to them, so it looks like it's flowing up and then down again. So the best way to do this is just to literally copy what you've done here. So I'm going to copy these. In fact, yeah, I'm going to just copy these two paths here. I'm going to hold Alt and drag them over here. But the problem is that we need to change the way that they're looking. So we need to make sure that we press E, holding Shift, to get them at a different angle. And this effect does take a lot of eyeballing, which is absolutely fine as well. Amazing. So now we want this path here, the outside path, to be on the inside. So we need to go ahead and, I think, swap these around a tiny bit. So I'm going to go ahead and eyeball this for a second, and I might not speak because it is quite a daunting task, but you will be able to see what we're doing. So move that path in, put this path down. I'm going to go ahead and zoom right in on this because I don't want it to be so bent. Amazing. Okay, right, we're getting there. We're getting somewhere. It's a bit bent. We want it to have like a nice flow to it. And then the one on this side, we need to make sure this path is smaller to get onto the outside. And again, we need to make sure it's flowing correctly and that it's not going to be a hindrance to us. This path is flowing very strangely at the minute, so I'm going to go ahead and work out where the best bend is for this. I think the best way to angle this is through the end here. So if I move the end anchor point to here, angle this there, move this up a tiny bit, it doesn't matter because we're just creating basically a hand effect, or I'm trying to show you a hand effect from an actual hand effect, which is easily done. Okay, so I'm going to actually move this down a tiny bit to create, we want it to be flowing upwards, I think, or am I just confusing myself? We want it to be, no we don't, we want it to be exactly how it was, so I want it to be flowing upwards. a bit from the inside, it should be on the outside, and that should be at the bottom. Yep. So I'm going to create this anchor point to be a bit more upwards, like so. And that's looking okay. I mean, it's not the best, but it is looking decent, and you can work more onto it to get this really nice stroke there. So we're going to just repeat the process that we did, which is to cut this. So I'm going to select this, and we're going to cut this over here. Cut this down here. Cut this off. See what we're left with, and just move this in. And we're going to do the same for this section here. I think we're going to do the same. I'm getting very confused at the minute, and it can be a bit confusing, and that's okay. We need to highlight this, cut these. And we've got our path there, and we need to make sure that that's all flowing, and that looks good. I'm liking the look of that. Okay, so we've done that effect, and the way we're going to finish it off is by making a new artboard, and you're going to have to buy a certain product to do this in the computer instead of scanning it up. It's called, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Ink Stamp or something, but it's an action within Adobe Illustrator. It's called Ink Block, and I'm going to be using number 3. I'm going to go ahead and play with my ink block settings here. Now this is basically where they're going to create an effect that will look hand done, and it might not look as good as this, but you can get a very good effect from it. And this is all in Creative Market, and you can get this very cheaply in Creative Market. The link will be in the description for you to go ahead and check it out, but I would really recommend doing it if you're creating vintage work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try and remember what I did, or what I should be doing. I'm going to preview this. I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to be playing with this, and basically Ink Block roughens everything for you. So it takes you through all these different pre-designed effects, and then we can change it within the Illustrator live trace. Like here, it'll say adjust image trace settings to those specified in the help file. And basically now this is an image, and we need to go and trace it. So I'm going to go to window. Actually, no, I'm not. I've got image trace right here. So I'm going to go to advanced. I'm going to press preview on. If you don't have image trace here, go to window and then down to image trace, and you'll see it. I'm going to go to type. Okay, if we expand that, something's gone wrong here. So I'm going to go back. Image trace. Okay. The effect that we're trying to have. I'm going to create a larger stroke to hopefully enable it to work correctly. So I'm going to get the action, press OK, OK. Just going to go ahead and press that again to get it to work. Yep, OK, OK. Amazing. And this is going to be, I'm going to change my different effects here from the amount of the threshold, or the amount of paths that I'll have, to everything else. So I'm going to do paths up a tiny bit, noise down so we have more noise, and then corners I'll leave there. And I'm not going to press ignore white, I'm just going to expand that, and then I'm going to ungroup it. And what we have now is the actual white in the center, which we can change the color of. So I'm going to change the things on the outside of here. On the inside of here, I'm going to change that. And then here, I'm going to change this to a red on the inside. And there we go. And that is the effect. And then that's actually looking more better than what I expected it to. So that is how I've created it. And hopefully you guys will understand it. Now, if you don't understand, this video has been a bit harder than usual because it's a video that I wanted to show you guys, and this is sort of my working thing, and it's not an easy tutorial. But if you've had any problems, leave a comment in the description, or go ahead and ask me in a different file that's coming, or in a different video, or ask me on Twitter, or look at the video again. Try and do something to help yourself as well. I think that's all I have to say right now. It's been a very strange video. I haven't been myself in the video, but that's okay. It's been very long, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.